Hi everyone, meteorologist Brian Bennett here with your latest update on Hurricane Matthew. I'm actually in Miami right now. A station needed a helping hand, so at a station in Miami helping out for Hurricane Matthew. Did want to show you what's going on with the storm right now. You can see lots of yellows and oranges and reds. Looks like a Christmas tree with all the shower and storm activity stretching all over parts of Florida. We do have a hurricane warning right now in effect in the red color here, basically from Daytona Beach, Melbourne, Fort Pierce, down to West Palm Beach. You head into the west coast of Florida, Tampa Bay, we have a tropical storm watch and a tropical storm warning, indicating that you could see a wind gust maybe of 39 miles per hour, but really this is a storm for the east coast of Florida. Right now, a Cat 4 hurricane as of this afternoon, winds blowing right around 140 miles per hour. And I wanted to show you the track here, what type of winds we're going to expect as the storm moves onshore. The yellow color here represents winds 39 miles per hour or greater. The orange represents winds 58 miles per hour or greater. And the red is the part of the storm that means business. That's hurricane force or greater. So going into the future, as we head towards 9 p.m. this evening, we're seeing winds between 58 and 74 miles per hour for West Palm Beach. Notice that for the most part, Miami is seeing a couple of gusts around tropical storm force winds, but really for the most part, Miami-Dade County and Broward County really kind of dodging a bullet for the most part here. But when you get up into the West Palm Beach area, different story. The weather will deteriorate very quickly, West Palm Beach and north. Now heading toward the overnight hours around 2 a.m., we're actually going to see the center of circulation become very close to moving onshore. So hurricane force wind gust and parts of the east central coast of Florida, potentially exceeding 74, maybe even close to 100 miles per hour in some of the immediate beach locations. And then by early Friday morning, Cape Canaveral, Melbourne, you're looking at a hurricane right on top of that area. So some of the worst storm conditions will be north of Fort Lauderdale and north of Miami as the storm approaches the coast. And really one of the things that makes this storm so dangerous, potentially devastating, and really impacting a lot of people is it's going to ride right along the coast. It moves on shore right perhaps around Cape Canaveral, but it's really very close to the coast from basically West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, or just north of Fort Lauderdale, all the way through Daytona Beach, Jacksonville, Savannah, all the way to Charleston. A large part of the population in Florida and Georgia lives along the coast, so that is a lot of people that look to be impacted by this particular storm. It's going to go off to the northeast and actually weaken a little bit as it moves into Georgia and the Carolinas, not looking as bad as it was earlier in the week with perhaps a direct landfall in the Carolinas. Here's a look at the power outage possibility, and this map really brings it home as to who can expect the worst weather and potentially power outages. In the yellow color here, we're expecting very sporadic power outages, maybe here or there, a tree down, not a big concern. And the orange color, a moderate risk of power outages. As you head north into the red color, we're looking at higher chances of power outages, and mainly right along the coast of Melbourne and Daytona Beach, even perhaps as high as Jacksonville. So immediate east coast of Florida is where we're looking at the greatest possibility of power outages. Again, the west coast of Florida, not a concern for power outages. Here's a live view from Miami. See a couple little raindrops. We're seeing a few rain bands move through. But again, dodging a bullet in the Miami-Dade area and even up into Broward County as well. Heading north into parts of Palm Beach County, that's going to be where the storm surge, also the stronger winds, and the heavier rain will be as well. So there's the center of circulation right now offshore, moving through the Bahamas. Looking at a closer view, we do have winds, tropical storm force winds, basically 39 to 73 in this part of the storm, this very far outer band. This moat, as we call it, the middle part of just outside the eye, has winds, I'd say roughly 73 to about 96 miles per hour. And then the part that means business is the center of circulation near the eye wall, and that's where we have winds, possibly Cat 2, Cat 3, maybe even an occasional Cat 4 wind gust as well. So this storm, we're expecting to move to the northwest, possibly making landfall right around the Melbourne area. So remembering that the tropical storm force winds extend out to this outer area, I can actually draw a little squall here and kind of show you the area that looks at the greatest chance for tropical storm force winds, and that does include northeastern Palm Beach County, all the way up to potentially eastern Polk County. Could see a few wind gusts that are of tropical storm force winds, possibly 40, maybe 50 miles per hour. But again, the strongest winds will be closer to the Melbourne area. Timing everything out, that's what you want to know. You want to know the when, the what, and the how much, right? Well, this is the when. At 7 p.m. this evening, we're going to see some heavy rain bands moving ashore around West Palm Beach. Looking at some street flooding definitely possible in parts of southeast Florida. Again, Miami not picking up a ton of rain. Fort Pierce, even over to Orlando, we're looking at some very heavy rain bands. At Orlando, we actually have the theme parks closing later this afternoon because of this approaching storm. Not a bad idea. You don't want to be at Disney World when Mickey Mouse is floating around himself. Those ears are too big to be in the middle of a hurricane. We're going to see the storm move off to the north towards Daytona Beach with some very heavy rain bands flooding likely in Jacksonville and Daytona Beach. Again, the Tampa area not looking at that heavy of rain other than a few passing rain bands that will move through. The storm continues right along the coast, kind of, again, not a great scenario with the large population in Savannah and Charleston as it continues moving north on Friday. Wave heights right now are between roughly 8 and 9 feet, so very large waves are crashing ashore. We are going to see quite a bit of beach erosion from this storm, and hopefully no structures like piers that are out into the Atlantic will succumb to the storm, but that is a possibility as these waves continue to increase. In addition to the waves, we have a storm surge, 1 to 3 foot storm surge for Miami up through Fort Lauderdale. Head farther north, West Palm Beach, Fort Pierce, Melbourne, looking at storm surge right around 3 to 5 feet. And a very large and dangerous storm surge for Daytona Beach, Jacksonville, Savannah, up through Charleston. The wetlands and low-lying areas could see up to 9 feet storm surge. That is a huge and dangerous storm surge. How much rain, how much fresh water are we expecting to fall from the sky? Fort Lauderdale, perhaps around 3 inches. Melbourne, 7, 8, maybe 9 inches of rain. Jacksonville, maybe close to 1 foot of rain as the storm continues to move off to the north, while areas west of the spine of the state, that would be west of central Polk County, including Pinellas County and Hillsborough and parts of most of Tampa Bay, Tampa and St. Petersburg and Sarasota. You're looking at maybe an inch, maybe up to an inch in some of the heavier rain bands as the storm moves off to the north. All right, here's an estimate of how much wind we're looking at. For Lauderdale, we could see a gust of right around 30 miles per hour, 62 in Melbourne, picking up overnight right around 80 miles per hour in Melbourne, so very strong winds. Orlando could see a wind gust of 50 miles per hour. Tampa, maybe a wind gust of about 25 or 30. All right, that's it for now. I'll have another update later if possible. Otherwise, folks in Tampa Bay, stay safe. Looks like you're dodging a bullet as well. Going to be a rough night for East Central Florida.